Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It's Wednesday, the 15th of July, 2026. These are the WTF reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist, holding the media's feet to the fire because they propagandize, gaslight, manipulate, massage the information, and they lie. You won't be trusted anymore. All right, welcome to the Wednesday Hump Day. Don't you dare be a chump and crump day version of the WTF reports. And there's so much to cover today. Although I'm gonna wax a little historical here, but before I do, of course, a lot of people have been paying close attention to what's been going on with the NDAA, and it seems that it has failed. Thank goodness. However, there are a lot of Republicans who voted for it. And for those of you out there, you conservatives out there, you might want to take note. I'm going to read the list of all of the Republicans who voted to advance the NDAA with Section 1217, Section, 224, and also Section 219. They're slipping all this stuff in, and they've also, a lot of folks out there want the SAVE Act to go through to protect our integrity of the electoral system, the election systems here. Well, they or whoever it is, they are slyly sliding in these, shall we say, merging suggestions in the ADAA and in the Save America Act. So we got to hold these rats' feet to the fire. And anyway, here's the list. I'm just going to give the last names and the state of the Republicans who voted to advance the NDAA, so you can call them up and give them a piece of your mind, because this is unadulterated, irrefutable, undeniable, pharmaceutical-grade treason. Anybody who votes to merge the United States military with the IDF or with Israel, this is treason. It is treason. And they should be held accountable. So here are the names of the Republicans who voted for the NDAA with Section 1217. Okay, here we go. Senator Armstrong, Republican, Oklahoma. Senator Banks, Indiana. Senator Barrasso, Wyoming. Blackburn, Tennessee. Boozman, Arizona. Arkansas. Britt in Alabama. Budd, North Carolina. Capito, West Virginia. Cassidy, Louisiana. Collins, Susan Collins, in Maine. Cornyn in Texas. Cotton, can't be surprised about that. He's in Arkansas. Kramer, North Dakota. Crapo, Idaho. Cruz, Ted Cruz, of course he would vote for it. He's, of course, in Texas. Senator Curtis of Utah. Senator Daines, from Montana. Steve Daines, I'm going to give him a call. And let's see, Representative Ernst from Iowa. Fisher, Nebraska. Graham, South Carolina. Lindsey Graham? How did he vote for it? That's interesting. Senator Grassley in Iowa. Haggerty, Tennessee. Hawley, that's no surprise, Missouri. Hoeven in North Dakota. Husted in Ohio. Hyde Smith, I should say, in Mississippi. Johnson, Wisconsin. Kennedy. What? He voted for this? Louisiana? Oh, no. I am so disappointed. Langford, and I'm not being sarcastic there. I'm genuinely disappointed to find out that Senator Kennedy voted for this. Senator Langford from Oklahoma. Senator Lee in Utah. Lummons in Wyoming. Marshall in Kansas. McCormick in Pennsylvania. Moody in Florida. Moran in, let me see, there's just an M here. I don't know what state that is. Somebody had a misprint there. Kansas. Okay, Marino in Ohio. Murkowski, no surprise, Alaska. Senator Rand Paul in Kentucky? No way. Oh, my word. Folks, we're being betrayed. We are being oh, gosh. Okay, Senator Rickett in Nebraska, Senator Risch in Idaho, Rounds in South Dakota, Schmidt in Missouri, Scott in Florida, another Scott in South Carolina, Tim Sheehy, Montana, Senator Sullivan in Alaska, Senator Tillis in North Carolina, Tuberville in Alabama, Wicker in Mississippi, and finally, Senator Young in Indiana. Those are the Republican senators who voted to advance the NDAA with Section 1217. I am so disappointed. I am really, really disappointed. But anyway, we've got to stay on top of this, folks, because if we lose the sovereignty of our country, we lose the country. It's real simple. Real flaming simple. Anyway, so what else is going on? Well, there's a lot of hubbub right now about what's going to happen tomorrow. They're saying that President Trump is going to be giving an address to the nation at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'll be very curious to see what he's about to divulge, because the mainstream media now finally is actually starting to report what has been going on with the election fraud, the Russia collusion, the Obama administration, et cetera. And Tulsi Gabbard, of course, released a whole bunch of documents before she was forced to resign. I'll just say that's my own personal opinion there. But anyway, even, let me see, Newsmax was reporting the following. Listen to this.
It should shake every single American in their shoes. I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016. We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history. James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting in July 28th in the Oval Office. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years. It undermined a sitting duly elected president. It sabotaged administration. It framed a three-star general. It destroyed and ripped this country apart. We had a constitutional crisis, the likes of which I don't think any American can fully comprehend. It is atrocious, and every single one of them must be held accountable.
Yeah, and of course.
Yes, they have. They must be held accountable. Now, the thing is, this is a huge story. If there really was collusion to subvert and corrupt the election in 2020, and all the stuff that was going on during the first Trump administration to basically destroy him, his family, et cetera, yes, those people need to be held to account. But the other issue that's coming forward is the election fraud issue of 2020. And there are a lot of folks out there that are screaming from the rooftops about how much they've discovered in Fulton County, and the fact that that too is going to be brought to light. So let me see. There are a couple of other things here. Here's another list. Boy, people are really paying attention to the vote as far as the NDAA is concerned. Okay, let's see here. The other issue here is Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson were talking. We mentioned this last week on the broadcast. There's discussion about a third party, because so many Americans are disillusioned by the Republicrats and the Demopublicans. They all realize that they're two wings of the same corporate bird, and people have had enough. You know, how long have we been hearing, well, when you vote for the lesser of two evils, you still get evil. And how long have we been hearing, oh, if you vote for a third party, you're throwing your vote away. Well, I would say that if you're not voting your heart, you're throwing your vote away, regardless of party. Now, again, you could take all the conservatives and put them on this side of the room, take all the liberals and put them on that side of the room. And you can ask, okay, let's ask you guys a question. Okay, do you like the military-industrial complex? No. Do you? No. Okay, good. Do you like Big Pharma? No. Do you? No. Good. Do you like the Federal Reserve? No. Do you? No. Do you like war? No. Do you? No. Do you like the government's invasion of your privacy? No. Do you? No. Do you see how much we all have in common? Now, if we stay away from the volatile issues, like gun control and abortion and stuff like that, I want to remind you that if the deep state takes over, if we end up in a dystopian nightmare, it won't matter how you feel about abortion. It won't matter how you feel about gun control or any of those buzz topics that the powers that be always use to divide us. Because if they take over, you won't have a choice. Just like George Carlin said, you don't have a choice. That's the way it's going to be. So we all better put aside our differences and realize what Sun Tzu said when he said, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And the bottom line here is that I think most Americans are realizing that they have been lied to, they've been snookered, they've been manipulated, they've been gaslit, they've been propagandized, and they've been lied to. And they're pointing the finger at members of their own party, and they're screaming, it's like that old saying, how do you know when a politician is lying? That's when his lips are moving. So, and this is something that, this is why I introduce this every show with a song that I wrote over 30 years ago called You Won't Be Trusted Anymore. Maybe one of these days I'll play it in its entirety. But getting back to this issue, about a third party, Kim Iverson posted the following, and she's making some good points. Listen to this. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to open up the that particular channel here. Let me put this here. Oh. I don't have a producer to cue up the clips, folks. Here it is. Why isn't it? Oh, that's because I didn't turn up this channel. One more time, I'm going to start this from the beginning. Here we go.
The story has multiple layers of shock. It almost has the makings of every single one of your nightmares. This is Ori Solomon here on the screen. Ori Solomon is an Israeli. He was arrested for operating a biolab in Las Vegas and another one in Reedley, California. These labs contained HIV, malaria, tuberculosis, COVID-19, dengue fever.
Okay, I'm going to pause that. It's the wrong clip. I don't know how this got mixed in here. I could have sworn this had to do with the third party. But nonetheless, those are important points. So anyway, so there is talk now about a third party. And you have to say, wait a second, I thought there already is a third party. It's called the Libertarian Party. Remember Ron Paul back in the 80s and 90s? He was a libertarian for many years. And then in the early 2000s, he realized that if he wanted to run for president, too many people were going to subscribe to the philosophy that I just mentioned. If you vote for a third party, you're throwing your vote away. You're just going to help the other party win. Okay, so he ended up deciding to go Republican. And we all know what happened. They railroaded him in 2008, despite the fact that there were millions and millions and millions of people all over the country who were supporting him. As a matter of fact, at the time, this is when I was still doing the Power Hour radio show on the GCN network, and I had a 40-foot MCI conversion bus, and I was traveling all over the country doing remote broadcasts. And everywhere I went, I saw bumper stickers, tent cards, signs in front yards, billboards, all for Ron Paul. Ron Paul for president. Ron Paul, Ron Paul, Ron Paul. I didn't see anything. I saw one poster for Hillary Clinton. Okay, I think I saw one for Giuliani as well. I don't recall. But everywhere I went, everybody was behind Ron Paul. Well, they railroaded him, just like they railroaded Bernie Sanders back in 2016 and gave Hillary the nod to run for president in the 2016 election. But at any rate, the point is that they railroaded Ron Paul in 2008, and they railroaded him again back in 2012 when he again made an attempt, a bid for the presidency. So the bottom line here, I'm getting a little long-winded about this third-party issue, but, we've got Marjorie Taylor Greene and we've got Tucker Carlson and others suggesting that we start looking at the possibility of getting a third party going. Well, I would suggest that maybe, just maybe, they could look at a party that already exists. Because in order to create a third party, you've got to have, I think it's 20% of the population behind it. This is why Ross Perot came within a cat's whisker of creating a third party back in the election of, 1990, I think it was. Oh, 92, excuse me. Yeah, that's when George Bush Sr. was running for re-election, and that's when Bill Clinton threw his hat into the Democratic ring. So the race was between George Herbert Walker Bush, William Clinton, and Ross Perot. And Ross Perot ended up with 19% of the vote. He came within 1% of creating a third party. Well, we've already got a third party, the Libertarian Party. So we may see, I don't know how this is going to play out, but we may see a real push by some of these people that are so disenchanted with the two-party system, they may jump ship from their party and jump on board the Libertarian Party. I don't know how that's going to play out, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, before I go any further, I want to remind you that you can call in. I would be happy to receive your phone call because we are broadcasting live Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Actually, it's 2:05 p.m. And that translates to 11:05 a.m., and that's Pacific time. So you could do the math for the time zones in between. So if you're listening during those times, you can call in live. There are replays on the Red State Talk Radio Network, so if you're listening to a replay, no, you can't call in. It's a replay. But if you'd like to join the broadcast, you can do so by calling 215-867-8255. And I'd be curious to know what event occurred that basically opened your eyes. What was it that woke you up? What was it that happened, or what was it that you saw that basically made you understand that you've been manipulated, misinformed, lied to, propagandized, and basically snookered? So what event was it that woke you up? I'll get into what woke me up in a couple of minutes here. But also, aside from that, I also want to remind you that our website, TheWTFReports.com, has all of the audio archives from these broadcasts. So you can go to TheWTFReports.com anytime and just go to the archives, and you can listen to any show that you might have missed. Now, I also want to let you know that just as of this past week, I know I've been talking about it for quite some time, and it's taken me a little while to get up to speed with all the new technology because I'm an analog guy in a digital world. You give me a reel-to-reel tape recorder and a splicing block, and I can work wonders. But with all of the new stuff that's come out, all these programs and recording programs, audio programs, streaming programs. Then you have to learn the program. You have to download the update. You got to get a plug-in, and you got to learn how to navigate all this stuff. And I have to be honest, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, this old dog has been struggling to learn some of this stuff, and I'm starting to get a handle on it. So now we've got the WTF Reports podcast. And so I'm recording a couple of those per week. And those are going to be posted on Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, and I don't know if we're going to get them on Facebook or not. Frankly, I don't care at this point. But Facebook, I tell you, people are leaving Facebook in droves. It's such an invasion of privacy. But anyway, so if you want to go to Rumble and just type in the WTF Reports, and you can watch a couple of the videos that I produced. And I have to apologize right off the bat. Some of the audio levels are a little off, and you can see that I'm somewhat struggling to get this and that going. But I'm learning. I'm getting it. And I just recorded. I attempted to record last week a bit about these flock cameras. And unfortunately, there was a technical problem, and the recording didn't work out. So I sat down last night, and I redid it. I redid the whole doggone thing. And it'll be posted on Rumble very shortly. And I think you'll find it extremely interesting. And I hope that if you go to Rumble and you see it, and it's not posted as we speak right now, but it should be by the end of the day, maybe by tomorrow. And so this is my new attempt here to throw my hat into the ring. I didn't want to do it, to be honest. I know what goes along with the notoriety, and I'm certainly not in for that. Too many people are out there, and what motivates them is the money and the accolades and the ego stroke. And that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because our country is going down the tubes. It's being flushed. I'm watching it, the whirlpool go. And folks, we can pull this out if we all join hands and, roll up our sleeves and get busy. But unfortunately, there are too many people who are just not doing anything about it. So my mission here is to wake people up and to try to get them motivated and inspired. So that's why I'm doing this again. So anyway, so what is it that woke you up? What was it that shook you to the core and made you realize that you've been lied to and manipulated? So the phone number here is 215-867-8255. Again, that's 215-867-8255. Now, my own personal experience, of course, as a young man, I was chasing the brass ring. I've always been a musician and a singer, and I got my broadcaster's license in 1979, and so I was working at little radio stations here and there, playing music and recording commercials and doing some narrations, et cetera, character voices for not necessarily cartoons but animations. So anyway, so this is what I was doing as a young adult. And when I started paying attention, I remember I read a book back in, I think it was 1989, and it was entitled, Who Killed John Lennon? Because I was a big fan of the Beatles. I wasn't a Beatlemaniac by any means, but I appreciated the innovation and the music that they did. And when I read that book, that was my introduction to MK Ultra. Because according to the author of the book, his name was Fenton Bresler. So you can look up that book, Who Killed John Lennon by Fenton Bresler. And so I started reading that, and I got, what? MK Ultra? I'd never heard of that. I remember hearing about it on the X-Files. Of course, that makes it just crazy conspiracy theory, wacko, tinfoil hat stuff. But it was documented in that book that Mark David Chapman was a product of the MK Ultra program. He was basically programmed to kill John Lennon. So I was like, what? So that sort of like kicked me off to go down a rabbit trail and start paying attention. And then I started listening to some of the alternative radio programs. I don't know, some of you may recall William Cooper, Bill Cooper. He wrote the book Behold a Pale Horse, and he was doing a broadcast on WWCR, Worldwide Christian Radio, on shortwave. And he was on at midnight Eastern Time, and I used to listen to him. I also listened to Chuck Harder from the For the People broadcast. And I also listened to Tom Valentine on the Sun Radio Network. So I was listening to some of the alternative networks out there and getting myself a little bit of an education. And anyway, so that's sort of what ended up motivating me to pursue a talk radio career. So I started contacting the local radio stations in my area. I was living in Connecticut at the time, and I ended up with a talk show on WATR AM 1320 in Waterbury, Connecticut. And by the advice of the program director, he says, Dave, with a name like vonKleist, you're not hard to find, and you've got a wife and a child, and I'm sure you don't want harassment or anything like that. Why? You should use an air name like a lot of other talk show hosts do. So I decided to use my grandmother's maiden name, Riddell. So I went out there as Dave Riddell on WATR. So I began broadcasting, and this was in 95. And right after I started was the Oklahoma City bombing. And that really freaked me out a bit because, not yet. I've got a little clip here. So what happened is, this is at the same time that the O.J. Simpson trial was going on. And all the other radio stations were having O.J. updates every 15 minutes. Yeah, we got to find out what's going on with O.J. Simpson, And as far as my radio show was concerned, I told the listeners, hey, if you're looking for an O.J. update, turn the dial. I'm not participating in that distraction. I'm more concerned with the 168 people who were killed in Oklahoma City in the Murrah building and what happened there. And this is when I started interviewing all the people who were down in Oklahoma. I talked to Representative Charles Keyes. I talked to a couple of the news directors at the local affiliate stations down there. I actually talked to William Cooper. I also talked to Anthony Hilder. And I talked to a bunch of other people. And what you heard from the Oklahoma City official story was absolute horse hockey, bull crap. snake snot. It was BS. Anyway, here's a little piece of the History Channel's assessment of the quote-unquote official story about what happened in Oklahoma City. Yes, I'm being historical. Yes, it was 31 years ago. But this is what really rattled my cage and opened up my eyes to the subterfuge, the propaganda, the bullcrap that the mainstream media was feeding the American public. Here's the History Channel's just a piece of this official story about what happened in Oklahoma City on April 19th, 1995.
On April 19th, 1995, Timothy McVeigh, an American Gulf War veteran, shocked America when he committed what was at that time the most devastating terrorist attack on American soil. This is the story of the Oklahoma City bombing.
Yes, it is a story. We continue.
On April 19th, 1995, a rental truck filled with homemade explosives detonated outside the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. The blast caused catastrophic damage, leaving 168 people dead and hundreds more injured. The question on nearly everyone's mind was, why? What motive could someone have to blow up a building, and one that included a daycare center? Two men, Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols, were ultimately held responsible for the bombing at Oklahoma City. Both McVeigh and Nichols served in the military and met in basic training at Fort Benning in 1988. That same year, McVeigh became a candidate for the Special Forces, but dropped out after just 2 days. He later reunited with Nichols. They bonded over their mutual anti-government sentiments.
Anti-government sentiments,
McVeigh's distrust of the government began in high school. As a teenager, he read the Turner Diaries by William Pierce, the leader of one of America's most prominent neo-Nazi organizations at the time.
Neo-Nazis, anti-government. You see how they're setting the table?
The book outlines a fictional Aryan revolution against the federal government.
Aryan revolution against the government.
And its opening scene is eerily similar to the Oklahoma City bombing.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there because this goes on for another, 4 or 5 minutes. So in just this little segment, we've heard definitively that it was Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols. They were anti-government, they were neo-Nazis, they were veterans, and they supported the Aryan nation. Okay, that's the official story. Okay, that's what they want you to think. That's what they want you to believe. However, this is what boiled my blood. Because I was in touch with the original, like I said, I'd been into broadcasting for quite some time. I was, as a matter of fact, I was a staff announcer for WTNH Channel 8, an ABC affiliate, for many years, and also WFSB Channel 3 in Hartford, Connecticut for a few years as well. So I was plugged in to networks. And when I was on the phone and talking to Representative Charles Keyes, and like I said, several others, and that's how I met Ted Gunderson, by the way. But anyway, so you just heard the official story of the Oklahoma City bombing, all right? Now you're going to get to hear the audio, at least. These are all the original television broadcasts that morning, right after the explosion. All the local affiliate stations got there, the ABC, NBC, CBS affiliates, and they were reporting what was really going on outside of the Murrah building. And I've got the video here, but you can listen to the audio, and you tell me if this has anything whatsoever to do with a fertilizer bomb in a Ryder truck outside of the building that was brought in by Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols. And by the way, there was also a John Doe number 2 or something. Anyway, here's a montage, a collage, if you will, of the original television coverage in Oklahoma City that morning. Here it is.
Oklahoma County Bomb Squad, it's their bomb disposal unit, essentially, is what it is, and it is what they would use to, if the report that we gave you just a few moments ago turns out to be correct, that they have found a second explosive device of some kind inside this building.
A second.
They'll back that trailer down there, and the bomb squad folks will go in, and they will use that trailer. You see the bucket on the back there, sort of, this is how they would transport the explosive device away from this populated area to try to do something with it.
Okay, I'm going to pause that. excuse me, I'm going to pause that because that was from the Channel 9 KWTV in Oklahoma City. That was broadcast live on Channel 9, and now we move to another network.
Transport the explosive device away from this populated area to try to do something
now
with
confirmed, through federal authorities that a second bomb has been found inside that federal building.
A second bomb inside the building. How's that? How does that relate to a truck bomb, a Ryder truck outside?
In Oklahoma City, it was an explosion at 9 o'clock this morning that did that damage you're looking at right there, blowing off the entire north face of that building. Again, you're looking at the north face there. A second bomb was found on the east side of that building. A bomb squad is on the scene. That second bomb has not exploded. We don't know quite the status yet, if they've managed to defuse it, but it has been confirmed that a second bomb was found on the east side of that building.
I just took a look down the street at the Morrow building again. I see another bomb truck going, so apparently they're going to try to get out that third bomb that's been talked about. Still a lot of activity around the Morrow building.
Okay, a second bomb. A third bomb. You didn't hear this from the mainstream networks once they got there. Only the affiliate stations were broadcasting the truth right in the beginning. But when the feds get there and the networks get there, it's like all of a sudden, the anchor, John Leiwitz, Eyewitness News. Yeah. A big explosion went off in Oklahoma City. Everything blew out across the into the building. It blew into the building. Yeah, you could see that. Yeah, it all blew right into the building. Yeah, they just massaged and changed everything. Anyway, I'm getting my blood boiling again. Here, we'll carry on with the local broadcast.
Security concerns that another one still might go off. That's what everybody's worried about.
At the present time, the medical teams downtown are unable to get into the wreckage to retrieve more of the injured because of the presence of other bombs in the area. I've been told by the police department that just as soon as those bombs are defused, they will permit the medical teams to enter.
Just for a second, we want to update our audience that the Justice Department is reporting that a second explosive device has been found in the AP Murrah building.
Listen to this.
Downtown Oklahoma City. Mike, you're still with us, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And I might tell you in addition to that, in fact, what we were told at the scene a few minutes ago was that, in fact, 2 different explosive devices were found in addition to the one that went off.
So a total of 3,
A total of 3, and of course then there was mass confusion whenever there were hundreds of spectators in the area, and when they heard that there were other bombs in the building, people were running from the area in the opposite direction as fast as they could.
Yeah, and they're showing video of people running down the street away from the Murrah building because they had been told that there were other bombs that had yet to explode. You didn't hear about that on the mainstream networks, did you? Did you, huh? Did you?
The station that one explosion caused, because here's now what we are starting to learn about the succession, or what someone obviously hoped would be a succession of explosions. The first bomb that was in the federal building did go off. It did the damage that you see right there. The second explosive was found and diffused. The third explosive that was found, and they are working on right now as we speak, I understand, both the second and third explosives, if you can imagine this, were larger than the first.
Okay, so now they've got the second bomb, and they are diffusing a third bomb. I mean, this is totally inconsistent with the official story of a fertilizer bomb in a Ryder truck. I think we can all agree with that. And there are many more of these clips that carries on. As a matter of fact, this was posted on YouTube, but damned if I can find it now. Yeah, they've scrubbed it. They've taken down any references whatsoever to the second bomb or the third bomb reports that were originally broadcast in Oklahoma City. But wait, there's more after this.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your
individuals from George Washington University and Columbia University.
Sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code RedPill101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get more tank by running, screaming to your computer. Go to our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page, and it'll take you down to where you can click on Get More Tank and read all the specifications and details about how and why this fuel catalyst works so well. It's not a fuel additive. It's a catalyst. It makes your fuel burn more efficiently. It makes your engine run cleaner. It gives you more power. And the kicker is after a few tanks, you will start to see an improvement in your mileage. Depending upon your make, model, year of vehicle, and your driving habits, you'll see anywhere between a 15 and 20% increase in your mileage, and that means money in your pocket. Now, when you use the promo code RedPill101, you'll get 10% off, which means $20 will get you 5 tablets. Now, the first time you use it, you put 2 tablets in your gas tank and fill the tank. After that, it's 1 tablet per tank. Now, the way that works out is you pay $20, you got 5 tablets, that's 5 tanks. And if you're getting 20% better mileage, that means the 5th tank is free. So you're getting better mileage, you're getting more power, your engine is running cleaner, and that means there's money in your pocket and you're helping the environment. So it doesn't make sense not to use Get More Tank. Give it a shot. I promise you'll be very pleased. So go to our website, The WTF Reports, click on the sponsors page, and Get More Tank. Okay, it's 42 minutes past the hour, whatever hour you're sitting in, and this is the Wednesday edition of the WTF Reports. And I humbly request that you spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your co-workers that there's a fun and interesting radio broadcast. And this crazy wackadoodle talk show host is here, WTF. I mean, as if there's not enough information out there to make you exclaim, what the... Yeah, and I'm here with the receipts, with the facts. So you can't say Dave said that, Dave made this up. No, I've got the receipts. And like I was telling you, I'm now graduating into a full-blown podcast. So if you want to check it out, do a search on Rumble. Go to Rumble and look for the WTF Reports, and you'll start to see some of the videos. And again, I apologize for some of the problems I had. I had audio problems, et cetera, because I don't have a producer here, so I can say, hey, play clip number 7. You know, somebody else to make sure everything runs smoothly. So I'm wearing several different hats while I'm doing this live. Anyway, so, okay, back to the matters at hand. I was talking about the Oklahoma City bombing, and you've just heard the original reports. Let me play a couple more of these so you'll get a little handle of it. Even Governor Frank Keating was making a statement about the extra bombs that they had found. And all of these reports from all the affiliate stations were deep-sixed when the feds got there.
So try to imagine 2 or 3-fold happening what we've already seen there. It is just incredible to think that there was that much heavy artillery that was somehow moved into the downtown Oklahoma City.
President Clinton just called Governor Frank Keating, and he says that 3 FBI anti-terrorist teams are en route to Oklahoma City. Right now, they are saying that this is the work of a sophisticated group.
A sophisticated group?
This is a very sophisticated device.
A sophisticated device. That doesn't sound like a fertilizer bomb in a Ryder truck.
And it has to have been done by an explosives expert.
An explosive expert.
Obviously.
We talk about the second bomb that was found. Devin told us earlier, we got information that the second and third bomb were bigger than the one that was detonated. 1,200 pounds of explosives in that first one that went off. The second and third devices that were found were actually larger than that. So you can undetonated bombs that were found that were bigger than the device that exploded. And if this other one that they're looking at now turns out to be something, it appears that it was meant for this building to come down, to be leveled, because of the amount of power that could have gone off. Only one explosion, it was obviously tragic enough. but there were more bombs set to go up, according to ATF officials.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there because there's several more reports about a second bomb and a third bomb, and a lot of people have been speculating why was the Murrah building targeted in the first place? If this wasn't Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols, if this was some sort of a covert operation to destroy the Murrah building, why? Well, I can only reiterate conspiracy theories because there are some folks that have said that there were a lot of lawsuits that were being filed against the federal government from the veterans of the first Gulf War because they were indeed exposed to chemicals, biologicals, pyridostigmine bromide pills, and experimental vaccines. Now, all I can say is that that's conspiracy theory. We don't have the evidence because it was obviously blown up. But this is one of the reasons why my head exploded, and I realized you can't trust the mainstream media, and it inspired me to write the following song. Enjoy.
In Oklahoma City, one fateful April day, the lives of many innocents were taken all away. At first the truth was broadcast for all the state to hear.
I think he said another bomb.
Oh my God, another bomb.
People ran in fear. The helicopter flyby, the crater wasn't there. Sophisticated bombs were found, but vanished in thin air. An artist drew a picture of how the crater's supposed to be. They published it in Newsweek for all the world to see. The story of a car bomb soon became a minivan, but they settled on a Ryder truck as they devised their plan. The seismograph in Norman recorded 2 events, but it never was reported. This cover-up is immense.
A second bomb was found on the east side of that building. A bomb squad is on the scene. That second bomb has not exploded. We don't know quite the status yet if they've managed to defuse it, but it has been confirmed that a second bomb was found on the east side of that building.
So apparently they're going to try to get out that third bomb that's been talked about.
The networks joined the cover-up. Now they're part of the crime. Tom Brokaw, Peter Jennings, and Dan Rather should do time. I ask you, OK City, how could you let them tell those lies? Were you too scared to take a stand? Were you deaf to all those cries? You claim to love your country, but refuse to get involved. And until you open up your mouth, this crime just won't be solved.
In fact, what we were told at the scene a few minutes ago was that, in fact, 2 different explosive devices were found in addition to the one that went off.
So a total of 3.
A total of 3, and of course then there was mass confusion.
The second explosive was found and diffused. The third explosive that was found, and they are working on right now as we speak, I understand, both the second and third explosives, if you can imagine this, were larger than the first.
This is the work of a sophisticated group. This is a very sophisticated device, and it has to have been done by an explosives expert.
We actually have got diffused bombs.
If our government was truthful and had nothing there to hide, then why were these reports ignored and quickly pushed aside? They said it was those patriots. Militias took the blame to discredit those who tell the truth. That's how they play that game. Then they destroyed the evidence to let the memory decay and quickly pass a terrorist bill to take your rights away.
Keating, Governor Frank Keating.
The reports I have is that one device was deactivated. Apparently there's another device, and obviously whatever did the damage to the Murrah building was a tremendous, very sophisticated explosive device.
America, wake up.
Are there any circumstances under which an individual is justified to blow up any building?
After you've evacuated it and you wanted to cover up the evidence.
Yeah, after you've evacuated it and wanted to destroy the evidence. Well, it wasn't evacuated, And unfortunately, it is my personal belief that, yes, evidence was destroyed. As I mentioned before I played the song, there were very sensitive documents in there that were in the process of coming to light. So anyway, that is sort of like what really rattled my cage. And as I mentioned, when I was a budding talk show host, and I was basically thrown down the rabbit hole and was introduced to all the skullduggery and subterfuge and scandalous activities of our government. And it also, like I said, this is when I met so many influencers at that time. Anthony Hilder, William Cooper, rest his soul. Anthony Hilder, rest his soul. And Ted Gunderson, rest his soul as well. And over the years that followed, from 1995, there were preparedness expos going on all over the country. And at that time, I had joined forces with Joyce Riley, my wife at the time. We were the American Gulf War Veterans Association. We were traveling all over the country, and we were attending the preparedness expos. And a lot of the influencers were at these expos. And in many of them, Ted Gunderson was there. And that's how I got to spend a lot of time and befriended Ted. We spent so many hours talking about all of the corruption that was going on. And of course, the sex trafficking, the satanic cults that were popping up all over the country. And I got myself an education. I wasn't prepared for this. I was just a crazy musician. Wanted to play gigs and go out there and maybe, become famous, make a lot of money. But that changed me. I realized, like I said, the pursuit of money and fame and fortune, it's a useless pursuit. You either stand in the light or you hide in the darkness. And that's when I realized that, if you become aware of a lie and you do nothing to expose the lie, you become part of the lie. And I got to look in the mirror every day and know that I'm standing in the light. And that's what motivates me to do what I'm doing right now. I didn't want to be back on the air doing this because, as they say, no good deeds go unpunished. And believe me, I know what that's like. I know what it's like to get attacked and ridiculed and all that stuff, especially after the 9/11 issue. That's when I produced the 9/11 In Plain Sight documentary, and that was 22 years ago. Yeah, 2004 is when that documentary came out. So, I got attacked. I know what it's like. I developed a thick skin. But I also realize that there are people that infiltrate every single movement that's out there. Every single one. And that because they want to divide and conquer. So I saw that what was going on in the 9/11 Truth Movement. And I basically, I said, I'm not going to participate in this. It's not a 9/11 Truth Movement. It's a 9/11 bowel movement. Because a lot of people were full of crap. And they were more concerned with selling their book or their video or getting famous or having some sort of a plaque or a memorial in their name. But that's not what it's all about. At least that's not what it's about for me anyway. So anyway, we've got a few more minutes left of the broadcast here. The phone line is still open. I'm curious to know if there's something that rattled your cage, something that woke you up. Because that's 9/11. That was a big one. But before that was the Oklahoma City bombing, and that's what shook me to the core. And it also made me aware of how brain dead so many Americans are. Because, you try to explain this to people or tell them, say, hey, look, it didn't go down like they told you. And, of course, most people say, oh, come on, Dave. It was all over the news. But they lied to you. And that's why I wrote that song, You Won't Be Trusted Anymore. So, I use music. Music is my weapon of mass instruction. I used to say that all the time when I was on the road playing these crazy wackadoodle songs. Anyway, again, if you want to call in, we've only got about 5 minutes left, if that. 215-867-8255. Okay, in other news, as I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, apparently President Trump is going to be addressing the nation tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time in regard to the release of documents having to do with President Obama and the collusion that happened under his administration and the election fraud of 2020. That's exploding all over the place, too. As a matter of fact, there were reports that 230 FBI agents have been deployed in Fulton County. Okay, let's see. Let's take this phone call. Okay, hello, caller. You're on the air. Please listen to your phone and turn off your device. Listen to your phone. Listen to your phone. Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am. I'm listening to the phone. Yeah, I just want to make 2 points. This is Ray from Columbus.
Ray, good to hear from you.
The ATF had an office in that building, and nobody went to work that day. The second thing I know from that, because I was listening to it and reading New American, and they did a great report on it. And the other thing is that there was Ideal General who had all of the expertise to evaluate that bombing.
Yeah, General Ben Parton. General Ben Parton. I talked to him, too. I had him as a guest.
Yeah, and he said no way the fertilizer could do it.
Right.
And number 3, you mentioned, why did they do the building documents? That's the same thing in 9/11.
Yes.
Building 7 was loaded with documents, CIA, and financial things, and there was an investigation in Wall Street, and that's where the documents were, and they got rid of them.
Yep.
So I think those two are similar.
Well, yeah, it looks like the Oklahoma City bombing was a warm-up for the 9/11 attacks. You know,
yeah, I'm, everything you're putting out there, I'm familiar with some of it, most of it, but the depth that you present is so much more reassuring that our knowledge is correct and that these things are happening. And so we're so glad you're there coming up with the receipts, because it confirms what a lot of people know from their own experience.
Well, thank you for the kudos, Ray. I certainly appreciate it. And I don't do it for that. You know, I just do it to try to awaken people and help them to understand that they can't trust the people that they've been trusting.
No way. I think we should take bulldozers to Washington and just push the whole thing in the Potomac River and start a new Independence Day and get back our government, because, like you've said so many times, both parties are two different versions of the same thing. One is corporate fascism, and the other is Soviet communism behind the Democrats. Well, and Charlie Kirk mentioned that. He said the program, the wealthy Jewish people are pushing the anti-white program in the Democratic Party. So that's a quote that I think you played as well. So we're under siege, and people are going to say, I'm a citizen, it's my government, I got to take action. So call your representative, let them know you're awake, live, and you're not going to take it anymore.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for reiterating what I've been saying for a long, long time. Ray, thank you so much for your listenership. It's always good to hear from you.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Bye.
All right, you take care. Well, that's true, folks. If this is a government of, by, and for the people, if the people don't participate, what are you going to end up with? Yeah, we can't wait. No, I'm not holding my breath anymore. Anyway, that's why I wrote the song, folks. So, anyway, if you're listening on Rumble or BitChute or YouTube or Facebook, you know what to do. Please click like, share, subscribe, and spread the word. Word of mouth is the best advertising. Try to wake some more people up. We need every single warm body in this country to be an active participant. All right, that said, I'm going to wrap it up for today's Wednesday edition of the WTF Reports. I thank you for your listenership. God bless you all. Stay safe, stay free, and God willing, I'll see you tomorrow. And keep your eyes open on Rumble. Go and look for the WTF Reports video podcast. We'll see you soon.